Like, even though we weren't really talking to each other, like you would check up on me, I'd check up on you and whatnot. So
Yeah, I mean, always trying to kind of stay in touch and support each other on each other's journey. I think actually that's one thing that Instagram is kind of helpful for.
Okay.
Is if you're building your relationships on there, you're able to kind of maintain those entrepreneurial relationships without having to hang out every week or even necessarily be working together.
yeah.
But just simple stuff like seeing what you're up to and sending positive encouragement and vice versa. Just checking in, having conversations.
Yeah.
Those small things kind of maintain the relationship. So even though I didn't maybe see you for 2 years,
Yeah.
still felt close with you. I still knew kind of what was going on, checking with you every once in a while.
Yeah.
Helped me with a couple of projects, which super excited to continue to do so.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, especially now as we kind of ramp up into this next phase of the entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, it just
that
gets
we're
a bit
both on.
more. Yeah, it just gets a bit more intense as the years go by. You know, like at the very
course.
beginning when we first met, you were 18 years old. Like, you were literally a baby, bro. And it's
Yeah.
funny that I say that because I'm only a couple of years older than you. Like, what? Like 2 or 3? I think 3.
I'm 22.
Okay, so I'm 25, so 3 years.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just crazy to see your progress. And one thing that I admire about you is that a lot of people claim that they're an entrepreneur, and a lot of people like to feel like they're a businessman.
Yeah.
But a lot of them fall off like really quickly.
Yeah.
But one thing that I really love about you is that throughout the years, you're still at it. You're
course.
still at it, different journey, different phases, but the core Chris Tredre is always a businessman. And that's one thing that I love about you. And that's why I connect with you so well. And I'm just giving you praises because there's very few people that I know, or at least in my circle, that actually follow through with their entrepreneur journey, you know?
Respect, bro. I mean, I appreciate that, yeah. And to be honest, there's a couple of thoughts that come to my mind even when you say that. The first is part of the entrepreneurial journey is identifying if you are a wantrepreneur or a true entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And the way that you're going to really figure that out is by going through the ups and the downs, because and we're going to kind of get into that as we progress in the pod, but you're going to have so many ups and downs as an entrepreneur, and there's going to be a lot of times where it's going to be easier to look back or look for an alternative path. Even myself at times have been guilty of that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the game doesn't finish if you don't quit.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
that's the key takeaway that I've always told myself is this doesn't stop until I
Until
quit.
you do.
And I'm
Exactly.
not going to.
Yeah.
So one big thing is that it's easy for like external influences to also discourage, because you may think that like, you know, a lot of the online space is centric around get rich quick.
Absolutely.
And it's easy to sell the dream of making money fast. But Alex Hormozi talks about this a lot as well, where if I could guarantee you that I become a millionaire in 6 years, would you take it? Versus the guy who tries to do it in 6 months and ultimately never actually gets anywhere, because it's a constant cycle of like start and quit, start and quit, start and quit.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. And like in an entrepreneurial journey, like you can never really chase the money. And I think that's why it's really important to get into a niche that you really enjoy, because money is always going to be a byproduct of success, right? However you want to measure success, but ultimately when you become successful, things are going well. And when things go well, money just is a byproduct of that, right?
Yeah.
And so, for example, the difference between someone who wants to become a millionaire in 6 months versus someone in 6 years, the person in 6 years, they're so focused, they're so fixated on the money aspect of things, whereas the person on the 6-year journey, they're more focused on their product or whatever, or their service, right?
Exactly.
They're more focused on the business and the journey itself.
Building a tangible product and tangible business that can get you results in the long term, and actually building something valuable.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that other people can't be, I mean, some people thrive in that environment where like, especially certain sales guys, what they'll want to do is basically grind 6 months, make a fuck ton of money, like as much as feasibly possible, go on a trip, spend it all, get back down to zero, and then restart that process.
Yeah. I actually know someone that talks a lot about that. It's Patrick Bet David. talks.
Maybe that's where I got it from.
Yeah,
Yeah, I probably did.
He talks about that, and like the hunger goes away once they find that little success, and
Exactly.
that's never feasible, right? Like,
And
that's
they
not.
need that to keep pushing themselves. They need to feel discomfort. They need to feel high levels of excess.
Yeah,
But does that make them a successful entrepreneur, business owner?
yeah,
Maybe not. And that's another point that I want to touch with you today is kind of in that entrepreneurial journey. One big thing that is very valuable is actually understanding yourself as a person,
yeah,
understanding your strengths, weaknesses, and what type of entrepreneur you want to become.
yeah,
Because there's people who are very system oriented, very sales oriented. Like there's different strengths.
yeah,
And what obviously makes a good business owner is understanding what can I do to play to my strengths and
Yeah.
what aren't my strengths, and how can I then find people who can help me achieve what I want to do. Like for example, I work with you directly because you're very talented when it comes to videography.
appreciate
Could I
that.
potentially spend a bunch of time in courses and trying to invest in cameras and become a good videographer? Maybe. But I came to realize that I get more value from working directly with someone like yourself who's going to be able to bring that area of expertise and bring that area of excellence to my business. Then I focus on my strengths, and almost like together we're able to achieve
That's the thing.
something special, you know?
You're building a team, right? And ultimately, in any business, when you want to scale it, you ultimately have to build a team because it's unfeasible for you to do everything, right? Like, there's no point, for example, going back to your example, like, there's no point of you spending so much time on trying to find a course or trying to figure out the videography side of things, because that becomes an opportunity cost of you actually running your business.
Yes.
Whereas if you just try to outsource that to someone else that can do it better than you, more efficient and more effective than you, then that's when you that's when you're truly leveraging your time and your effort, right? And yeah, no, absolutely. It's just going back to what you said, is like finding what kind of entrepreneur you are. That actually speaks a lot of volume and a lot of weight, because a lot of the times people just want to get into the business because they know that getting into business ultimately makes you the most money, right? Because there's no capped salary in business, right?
Yeah.
You make as much money as you can or you want to. So I find that a lot of people find success when they're doing something that they truly love, and then they just scale it to a business, right? For example, someone could just be really love building decks or something, right? They love to build decks, but then all of a sudden, like, they find success, then they expand it and they become really successful because they don't fall out of love with that, because they first were already in love with that, right? So
It kind of ties back to the idea that as early entrepreneurs, what we're really actually doing isn't running a business, but actually developing our skills.
yeah,
And that applies to whether it's e-com, whether it's an agency, whether it's videography, whether it's a deck business, any service-based business.
Yeah.
It's building the skills at the beginning.
Yeah.
And really what you're doing is skill stacking. And then you're reaching a point where you're like, okay, I can now scale out this skill. How do
Yeah.
I do that? I build a business around it. And
Exactly.
it's easy to say that maybe you put a name towards it, or you know, even for myself, like I started my business very early, but I was still in the skill stacking phase. But the vision that I have is the fact that I started that business early because I knew that's something that I wanted to pursue. And so now I already at 22 have 4 years of business experience with tangible proof, trials, tribulations, everything.
Yeah.
And that's only just getting started, right?
So here's my question for you. You mentioned that you started at a young age,
Yeah.
right? So what initially got you started into business, or what kind of like attracted you into doing or going into your business journey?
It's interesting because a lot of it happened organically.
Okay.
And I just had to kind of see it and believe it. And I think with hindsight, it's easy to be like pinpoint those times in my life
Yeah.
where I was like, okay, this was what was meant for me. But basically, to take you back, I'm gonna take you back way back. So we'll
Okay.
go back to like when I'm like 15, 16-ish.
Okay.
I'm working at independent grocery store,
Okay.
and I'm working in the meat department. And it's Blues Fest, and that was the year, I think it was 2017. So it was like that really hype year with like a lot of great artists there. And obviously I wanted to go. It was like, I remember distinctly, it was July 10th was a big day with a lot of big artists, and I specifically booked work off. And there was obviously at that level, no disrespect, but it's not that organized.
Yeah.
And so things got lost in translation. I'm 15 years old. And to keep the story short, I didn't show up to work. I was scheduled. I explained, I booked it off well in advance. I have the text proving it, but they wouldn't accept that. So I no-show.
Yeah.
Twice, because both days were very great. And I had to focus on that at my 15 years of age.
Okay.
And so they fired me.
Oh, wow.
And I was frustrated with that because I didn't feel like I deserved to be fired. But that was the first time that I was taught a lesson about the savagery of being an employee sometimes. And then that led me to trying to get another job, except I couldn't because I'm 15 years old. I have 3 months experience working in the meat department. And for one reason or another, it just wasn't sticking. So basically, I had to analyze and think, okay, well, what can I do on my own? And so I started a dog walking business, and it kind of happened organically as well. But, people come to me and they're like, hey, can you walk my dog? I like dogs. I was always friendly in the neighborhood as a younger, kid growing up. So yeah, of course, no problem. And so I charge like $8 per walk. And then obviously I'm walking around. So naturally, hi, oh, you're walking Sam, the dog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, doing this for them. Well, would you ever walk my dog? Yeah, I'd be happy to. Just let me know. Here's my number. Boom, boom, boom. As that progresses, I start to basically get a clientele of referrals of dogs to walk in my neighborhood. And so then every day after school, the bus drops me off. I walk across to this house, walk the dog for a bit, and it turned into, instead of per walk, we agreed on a per week.
Yeah.
For payments. So every Friday she'd leave the cash beside the leash, and I'd be making my cash.
Yeah.
And so that was like the first experience that I had of having my own business.
Okay.
And that went on for a couple of years. And then eventually I got another job. So I wasn't able to keep walking the dogs because that's a business that requires my attention. So I learned about delegation for the first time, where essentially I would sell the dog walking package and then I would hire someone to do on a per walk basis.
That's funny that you did that at a young age, because that's like you were already scaling it at a young age. But here's the thing though, like just looking back, if I had hired you, did that go well? Because if I had hired Chris Tredre to walk my dog, I'm expecting Chris to walk my dog. And because especially in a business like that, there's a lot of trust that I would have to build with the person before I would let them walk my dog.
Yeah.
So how did that turn out?
I was just very transparent with them that, like, obviously I'm still on top of things, but I was able to build that level of trust with these people that, like, they didn't really bat an eye. They just really wanted to focus on the result of, okay, my dog's safe, everything's good. And I'd still provide the updates. So I'd say, here was your thing. And sometimes I'd send like a picture. And it's like, I didn't have a mentor for, like, this is just things that just felt right. And that was the first kind of business. Eventually that died off, sadly, because the dogs either moved or passed away. So it was kind of time to move into that next phase.
Yeah.
And when I was in school, I was not actually a very good student, as many entrepreneurs are. But I think it's easy to say that after the fact. But in the moment, sometimes you question why you're not doing well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, my average was like a 68. Like I was definitely.
It's so funny because I can somewhat relate to that.
Yeah.
I think school was just never something that I excelled in because I did not like. First of all, the teachers just did not hit well with me. Like usually teachers.
A bit one-dimensional.
Yeah, not only that. I just find teachers are not even really passionate about what they're teaching, right? And sometimes you just feel like you just feel that energy. Like you walk into the classroom and you just feel that
mundane.
The teacher's aura is just like, she doesn't want to be there or he doesn't want to be there. And then like the way they would teach is just half-assed, and it's just not something that is really enjoyable. And
when you're that age, you don't realize that this is these people's jobs. Yeah. And so like you look up to them. They're like, okay, they're my teacher. They're going to help me learn math. But in reality for them, this is their 23rd time teaching math. They have a certain way of doing so. Yeah. And who knows how much passion they really have for it, like you were saying. The issue that I had in that time is that I didn't respond well to that teaching style. And so the snowball effect came into play where then I'm falling behind. I'm not grasping concepts. Things are moving quickly on me.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to believe that I'm not intelligent, that I might have ADD, that I might just not be capable.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting 32%, 48. The fact that I passed that class came through extreme effort, getting a tutor. And it was a very valuable time in my life looking back, but it was frustrating at the time because I genuinely at that point, you're getting those grades. You're probably, I think I was the second worst student in the whole class.
Oh my God. But honestly, that's not like, that's not something that is like unreasonable to happen. You know,
No, it's not.
Especially
But no one
because-
guides you through that.
And here's the thing too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I just feel like everybody that has like an entrepreneurial mindset, they kind of just like they have their ways of doing things, right? For example, for me,
Yes.
I could relate to you in a way where like I felt like I wasn't good enough, or I just felt like I wasn't smart enough. Like I just didn't like how my intelligence was measured based on a curriculum
Yes.
that wasn't taught to me really well, right? It was taught to me very poorly, and now my intelligence was measured based on that, and I did not think that was fair because everybody excels in different ways, right? A lot of people excel through reading, a lot of people excel through like doing things, right? A lot of people are visual learners, right? And so there's a lot of ways you can measure someone's intelligence, but it's unfair when it's measured in such a like one direction.
Absolutely.
Right?
We have that hindsight now that we're in our early 20s, but at 15, 16 years of age, it definitely, at least for me, threw me off a bit and also conditioned me to start to believe that that's what I was destined for. I'm not the smartest guy. Also, at that age, I was only focused on like soccer and like, you know, talking to girls and stuff. So it's like your priorities are in a different place, you're in a different headspace, going through all that stuff.
Yeah.
But to kind of fast track a bit, the organic thing that happened is I started taking business classes because naturally as you reach further down the curriculum, you have to start picking electives.
Yeah.
And, you know, it aligned, took business. And that's where things really started to shift for me because for the first time in my life, I actually started getting good grades again, other than like when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And so it started to kind of increase my baselines for my expectations. It started to also increase my baselines for what I believed was possible for me to achieve because I started from going and getting very poor grades, not even average, poor grades, to getting a 90, to getting a 86. And, you know, I'll also accredit certain people that were around me that they probably don't even know or realize or meant to, but even just sitting near certain people in classes that I actually started taking interest in and see their effort levels and see the way that they study and see what they put in to get the results. Yeah. Started to influence me well to start doing better in school.
And that can really translate to everything in life, right? Like real life, especially because there's always like a saying where like, if you hang out with 5 millionaires, you're going to be the sixth one, right? Because honestly, I know this is not 100% true, but usually in most cases, you're a byproduct of your environment.
Absolutely.
That's not in every scenario, but usually when you put yourself in a room where you're just everybody's is into business, you're also gonna adapt into that, right? You're gonna just adapt to the mindset that they have and whatnot. And so, I think like fast forwarding, I know that whole business journey, how you started was kind of like you're kind of unsure, right? Like at what point did you know that this is something that you just want to be pursuing for the rest of your life? Or like was there like a moment or like have you had a breakthrough moment yet as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think I've hit a few stages and milestones that I'm proud of, but it was an organic journey still of learning and overcoming things. Kind of ups and downs, like I was saying, and basically, what happened was I was playing on the soccer team in high school still, and really wanted like hoodies to be able to wear and rep our team, and I was in discussions with the coach about making that happen, but he was very busy and wasn't really able to take it on, and so that year it flopped and we never got any like rep.
Yeah.
So the following year, I had asked him if it'd be okay if I took responsibility for that and tried to make that happen.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, sure. And he kind of gave me some of the tools and ideas, and then my own way of doing things led me to try and go network with different retailers
Yeah.
to try and get high quality apparel. And so I was at Zoomies at Saint Laurent. I was talking with one of the managers, and I was saying, hi, I represent, this school. I'm going to be responsible for doing X, Y, Z. Can you give me some advice? Can you tell me where I can get some stuff? Can I get blanks from you?
Yeah.
Anyway, he ends up giving me a connection for a wholesaler for Champion, which at the time was
It was popular.
it was like, this is 2016 to 2019 time.
Okay.
So it's pretty popular.
Yeah. That's when it gained its popularity back. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now I'm like, okay, well, I can bring this to my school.
Yeah.
And I did, and everyone was super hyped up and bought a bunch of stuff. And
So did you fund this yourself, or did the school fund it and then they gave you funding?
Neither. There was no funding.
So this was all yourself.
Yeah, I had the idea. I understood what I wanted to get done. I built the connections.
Yeah.
So I built the wholesaler. Then I asked for a manufacturer. I figured out the manufacturer. I tied that together, and now I'm able to provide
The school.
high quality apparel for my school.
Oh,
so I'm
so
super
you-
hyped for that.
Oh, so you just basically took care of the logistics side of things.
Took care of all the logistics and started saying to the other students, like, hey, would you be interested in a Champion hoodie? This is the one that we can do for you. So there's a volleyball team, track and field, golf, soccer team. Everything was in the works.
Yeah.
And so when we first got that first order, this is at, I want to say 16 or 17 years old. I got like $1,200 worth of sales. And I was like, wow, that's what I make in like a month at the grocery store or whatever you're doing, So that was really exciting and kind of taught me a valuable lesson. Like I really reflect on my life a lot. So like I'm able to explain these stories now because I have the hindsight to look back. Like at the time you're going through it as I'm probably doing right now at the current stage that I'm at. Like you interview me 3 years from now and I'll probably have a lot to say about what's going on in my life now.
Yeah.
But at that time, then everything's going great. I'm super hyped. I'm building connections. Other students are like, Chris, we love it. We want to make it happen. And then unfortunately, the school, even though I had the support of my coach, who was like a great guy in that school, everyone, Mr. Deller, everyone like had a good relationship with him. He was very supportive and I think played a great role in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
At that school, he really uplift people, which is not always something that you receive in the school system.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, new principals came in and they shut it down entirely.
Why?
Mostly because why? I still wonder, I really do.
And here's the thing about that. I don't know if this would probably be the reason why. Do you think it was because of the fact that like you were so young and they just didn't believe in you? They thought this was not a viable thing, because a lot of the times you don't get respect as a young entrepreneur.
Absolutely. I can tell you so many stories about that, but
yeah,
I think that's what it was.
Even for me, bro, like a lot of people don't put a lot of weight on my words just because they see me as someone that's super young.
Right.
Even though I'm like in my mid-20s, right?
Ooh.
It's interesting. Bro, I'm just seeing flashes that through your
funny.
Through your
That was a
reflection.
big lightning.
Yeah, but no, a lot of the times people don't even take me serious, bro. And like even for example, getting this studio, right? Mason and I had gone and looked around multiple times, but all of the agents did not take us serious, right? Because like, oh, these are two young guys, blah 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 blah. They probably don't even know what they're doing and whatnot, but there's just no respect given as a young entrepreneur. So like I'm sure like even based on what you're saying right now, like you have come across some of those situations. Can you tell me like a brief maybe a story of like or an example of when that happened to you?
Yeah, I have a couple. The one that really hit me in the heart the first time, I always remember, is when I'm like just starting out, and I think it had to do with this clothing business, because the next phase of this clothing business was to take it into grad wear.
Okay.
Right? Because now I'm looking
to scale. So this is you still in high school?
This is end of high school now, towards the end.
Okay, but you're still in high school.
Still in high school.
Okay.
But naturally, I'm like, okay, I'm building out this product. And also they shut down the sportswear.
Yeah.
So I'll make gradwear.
Yeah.
I'll go to the other way. And I start building those connections. I walk into a shop and I go, hi, can I speak to the owner, please? So the owner comes out. I'm like, hi, my name's Chris. My business. And he interrupts me. He goes, you don't have your business. What's your business? You don't have a business. Where's your location? Where's your business card? Where's your website? He starts grilling me. I'm like, young guy. I remember leaving that store. First of all, I was like, well, fuck this guy. I don't want to do business with him.
Yeah. No,
but also then I remember going back into the car and being like, fuck, that sucks.
I know.
So it's like and kind of to your point about even why we're doing this right now and why we're making the sacrifices and efforts that we do is because the lesson that taught me is I need to build social proof. The next time I walk into a business and say I want to speak with the owner and I want to say my business, here's my card, here's my website, there's my whip, build that social proof to combat those judgments. Because once you're able to, then age becomes a little bit irrelevant. It's kind of like an athlete. When you look at those top, I mean, I love soccer, so I'll refer it to soccer. But like there are top players who are in some of the best teams in the world. They're like 18, 19 years old. Because if they're good enough, they're in the team. And so basically the point that I'm trying to make is if you build yourself up enough, then it doesn't matter what age you are. You'll be able to command that respect. And you do that through social proof. And you build social proof through a lot of sacrifice.
No, I know. But like sometimes they don't see it right away. They can't see social proof. They can't see your Instagram.
No, of course
They can't see anything. But I think for me at least, the biggest way to combat that when they're kind of like downplaying everything that you're saying is basically just talking in a way where like you can hold yourself like where you can come off really professional, like say certain things that make sense or say things that like a normal kid wouldn't really know, and just like talk about like, and just talking about your business as well, right? And like even like for me and Mason, a lot of the times when we meet people, they just talk about like, oh, what kind of business do you do,
Right.
And like, and a lot of them like probably question whether we actually do have a business, but the moment you really talk about like the logistics side of things or kind of just like your experience, then that's when they kind of give you more respect. But I mean, there's a lot of young entrepreneurs nowadays, but it's just definitely really difficult, especially when you're meeting people in person, to look as young as we do, Like sometimes, bro, like people think I'm like 19 or 16.
Well, let's get your take on this. One thing is that becoming an entrepreneur has become cool. So, you have all these influencers that when we were in the space in our earlier journey, they were a lot smaller and less impactful. Now you have guys with millions of subscribers influencing these younger guys to take action. I've met like 17-year-olds who I thought I was driven at that age. These guys are on crack. They're fired up. And the reason is because they're getting all this exposure on TikTok and Instagram of this is what you got to do. Success, fire you up, as it may even do for us still. But the point is they have all of that influence. And so what's happening is they're inexperienced entrepreneurs. And they're coming up to business owners and they're pitching their products and they may not be delivering results. I'll talk about myself in the agency space. In the agency space, you'll have a lot of people who try and start different types of agencies. And one way that I overcome objections, because obviously it can be a bit saturated. Let's say I go and I say, I do social media marketing. That's what we called it at the time. And they're saying, okay, well, I already work with someone. It didn't go well, so I'm not interested. The way that I combat that objection is by basically stating that that's fair, but it's kind of similar to dating. So just because you had one bad relationship doesn't mean that you won't date ever again. We as a business clearly have these systems and processes. I kind of outline it for them. And then I give them something, because this is just my sales tactics and approach, is I give them something to reflect on, to ponder on, and then I keep touching base and following up. So let's say I say here, no problem, I understand that, but here at Tredre, we do things a bit differently. We're more experienced, So yes, I'm disappointed to hear that you had a bad experience, but don't judge me based off of the results that you had with them. Here's my case study. If you have free time over the next week, check it out. And I'll just touch base over the next few days just to see where you're at. Okay, let's say I did that on a Friday.
Yeah.
The next Wednesday, hey, did you get a chance to see the case study? If you haven't, and let's say I do an email, and I'll have a small summary of the results that we actually did.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, we got an average cost per lead of $4.59. This equated to $21,000 worth of business. This is something that we'd like to replicate for you. Check out this video that we made.
Yeah.
And let's say it's one of the videos that you've made with me. And I send that, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I only send them half of it. I say, it's only going to take 30 seconds. Just check it out. Okay, that's not so bad. Let me actually respond. Okay, let's set up a real call. And, you know, sometimes I leverage, like, in order to get things going back my way, I leverage even people on my team. I'll be like, okay, well, let's meet. Like, for example, they'll say, I worked with an agency and then they disappeared. I didn't even know if they were doing any work. I say, okay, no problem. Well, let's set up a call with me, you, and my client success manager. Let's sit down together and let's talk about how we'll actually be able to deliver better results for you.
Yeah.
And just having him there, he doesn't even have to talk. He just has to join the Zoom call and say, hey, I'm Mo and I'm the client success manager. And, you know, I look forward to helping you with these persistent processes. Any questions you have, this is how we do it. We streamline communication. All the communication is through a Discord chat or like a Slack channel, right? And you have these things. This just demonstrates you as a more of a professional. And then that's what brings you the success, because now you're able to create an amazing experience for these people. Yeah. And then the compound effect goes from there.
No, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing in business is just backing up your words with true actions, right? With results, and just like not say so many empty words, right? Because a lot of people just have empty promises, and that's one when you have an empty promise, that tarnishes your reputation. And the business world, as big as it is, it's also really small. Right? Like if you ruin your reputation in business, that goes a long way. If you have a great reputation in business, that goes a long way, right? People referring you, people not referring you, just based off of their experience.
100%.
And so it's good that you not only do you actually deliver, but you actually have you not only do you deliver, but like you take them to a process where they can understand what they can also expect, right? Exactly.
I think that's something I've learned along the way, is setting expectations. And this is something that has worked as my strength, but also my weakness, because it does result in sometimes getting analysis paralysis, because I want things to be perfect. Yeah. Because
you are someone that's perfect. Not in a lower sense. Like you are someone that's like, you're a perfectionist. Yeah. Like even with these clothing, like I know it's like, elephants in the room. We have a freaking clothing rack right behind you. Yeah. And that's actually your clothing brand, right? And it's a clothing brand that you started a really long time ago that I'm actually repping. So it's limitless supply. And I mean, we've been doing a lot of work with you and whatnot. But what's really nice though is that like you truly do care about your service, right? And your products. And going back to what I was saying is that you're a perfectionist, is that like you told me about this project and I had to wait months for it before I received it, because you wanted to make sure that the material was correct, the print was correct, and like you were working with a reputable manufacturer. And that's something that I admire about you, is that like when you do something, you do it right. And these turned out amazing. I'm wearing one right now. Yeah. I've never looked this good, never felt this good.
I'm very proud of them. And I cannot wait to get this out, because I actually get a lot of people give me a lot of positive feedback. I mean, part of that spiel that you just gave results in me having very high quality apparel to share with people. But I wanted to make sure that, and this, I'm going to tell you a quick story that ties into my behavior behind this. Yeah. But I want to make sure that it's scalable, in the sense that I can replicate the quality every single time, and that it's feasible, that I can actually afford to run it, because running a clothing line, the margins are not, like, you can make lots of revenue, but the margins are not great, especially especially here. Yeah.
Especially like the clothing industry, bro. That's like a really, some would say is a very saturated market.
Very much so.
I mean, like I dove into it a little bit. I mean, when I had that like fitness page when I was in high school, we sold some clothing and whatnot. I mean, it's very difficult. One, like you really have to find like a really good supplier and whatnot. And like, you really got to come up with like crazy design that's like one of a kind. And more than anything, your marketing has to be better than the product, I find. Because a lot of the times in this day and age, your product could be somewhat average, but if your marketing is amazing, you're just gonna blow everyone out of the water.
That's how you see so many clothing brands go like this.
Yes, no,
because
of course.
they're excellent marketers, and they have a good social circle, and they build that brand. They sell a lot, but no one repurchases.
Yeah.
And so I have basically taken the opposite approach, and it's resulted in delays. It's also meant that, I do have to fund samples. I do have to do certain things that maybe I wasn't able to allocate cash towards.
Yeah.
But I think the main reason I've had issues with apparel and sometimes got discouraged with apparel is because of the story that kind of ties back to that early phase of the apparel stuff in my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go into the gradwear, and I was talking about it, and this coworker that I had at the movie theater, when I worked at the movie theater, she referred me to one of her teachers who needed gradwear. And I actually scored the contract for the gradwear for this school, and was also in talks of doing all of their teams.
How did that feel, landing that contract? Did that feel like...
It was huge, because I had just got hit down, right?
Yeah.
By my current school. So the fact that this random school was like, oh yeah, we'll trust this guy to do it. He has all the samples. They look good. We'll make it happen. That was such a big win. Yeah. And I was so excited to pursue that. But my lack of judgment resulted in a colossal failure. Okay. Do you remember? Because we were, at that point, we were working together.
I did remember you talking... It's such a foggy...
It was early phases of Roger's time.
Yeah, it's such a foggy memory. But I do remember there was a time where like you were feeling really down, or like maybe you lost money or something.
A lot.
Like, was it close to $2,000? Higher? Yeah. Okay, I can't really remember, but I just remember like you feeling really down. But I can't really remember the entire story. Like, give me a brief overview of what happened.
So get the contract, get like several orders.
Okay.
Really excited to make that happen.
Yeah.
Undeniably, the hoodies are superior to any other hoodie that people could have.
Okay.
But
yes, I remember now.
So the supplier, A1.
Yeah.
The manufacturer, fired their main guy, who is my main guy that I did all of my apparel through. Yeah. He upped and disappeared, I swear. So they had a random rookie. Yeah. And they put the rookie in charge of my full order. And they did not advise me well. I had a lack of judgment because I trusted them without overviewing everything, without making a sample. Maybe, to save $100, I cost myself $7,000. And then a potential, if you extrapolate that over 5 years, $35,000 worth of revenue. So very disappointed. That journey was a stab in the heart. And I could have walked away and they could have gone to a new manufacturer, but I wanted to promise myself that I would deliver it right. And in the end, so what ended up happening is I delivered these hoodies. Yeah. Late by a day, but I delivered all 70 hoodies. Yeah. The quality was horrible. So they unboxed the next day. I delivered on a Friday. On the Monday, they come by, and the quality is terrible. So I get a call that afternoon from the lady, and she's like, these are shit. Come pick them back up. We want a refund. I say, okay, no problem. Let me come see you tonight. I can go see. Obviously, the quality is bad. Also, mind you, because I was rushed, I didn't do quality control. So they packaged the hoodies for me. They call me at so I'm supposed to bring the hoodies at 5 p.m. Yeah. It's like 4:59. They're like, okay, Chris, it's ready. I've packaged them. So I just put them in my car. I didn't even check them. Wow. This is the inexperience coming into play.
Yeah, and you're also such an time crunch too, right?
Well, I'm getting external pressure. And this is where I learned, setting expectations. These are all lessons that you can extract. Yeah. But at the time,
but honestly, man, like the fact that you have, every entrepreneur goes through such a crazy moments in their life, right? Yeah. Or just things, but what's nice is that despite that terrible experience, you still pursued business, and that did not push you away into doing business. With that gradwear business, I still delivered a very high quality product in the end because I fired that manufacturer, was gonna sue them for damages. Yeah. It was a whole thing. 18 years old learning all this shit's hilarious. Now looking back, it's hilarious. At the time, very stressful. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I delivered a good thing. I think everyone was very happy with it. Obviously, didn't get the contract the next year, which is disappointing because if I had delivered those final products the first time, who knows where that business would have gone.
Yeah.
But at that point, my feelings towards apparel, after getting shut down by the school and then messing that one up a bit, it's a little bit down. So now we're kind of transitioning more into the marketing and sales space because in between that time, I knew that I wanted to pursue business, but I didn't really know how and what. So I knew I had to stack skills, and I understood that sales was something that I wanted to pursue. I was considering car sales, I was considering real estate, I was considering a lot of different things. And I don't know if you remember this, but like in that time, I'd gone for an interview for a car sales position, and they said, you don't have enough experience, you need to go get some tangible sales experience. They said, go apply to Bell and Rogers. So the next day I went to Rogers, and you and Waffle were working. And you probably don't remember this, but I walked in. I was like, hey, guys, what is it like to work here? Do you guys like it here?
I remember that, bro, because you came in so, like, fuego, bro. Like, you had your sunglasses. You're walking inside with sunglasses. Like, you were wearing your Ray-Ban sunglasses, like aviator sunglasses, or I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, like, it was just, like, gold, and, like, you were wearing black, and, like, I don't know, bro. I mean, I was young at the time as well, but, like, you came in hot, you know, like, oh, what is it like to work here and whatnot? And like, I love that energy though, you know, like, you know, me and Steve, we all share the same mindset, you know, so we never like judged you in any way, but it was pretty cool. And you landed the job.
I landed you were like, yeah, there's interviews next week, like sign up here, whatever. I come back.
Oh yeah, that's the funny thing. Like there was no job fair or anything. You literally just walked in and just asked like, hey, like, how does it working here?
I wanted to know. You guys are, it's pretty good, you know, tell me some stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm going to apply next week.
Yeah.
Get it done. Eventually started there. And that time was actually really hard because I went from working at the movie theater, which was a really amazing environment and relatively low pressure, to working at Rogers with a bunch of killers, because that environment really helped me grow as a person. Because first of all, I'm the baby there. It was me and Faraz. We're 18, 19. All of you guys are a little bit more experienced. And we're a top performing store in Ottawa. So the expectations are very high. I remember like Sarouche, Waffle, like grilling me, you know, because the expectations were really high. And I wanted to quit. I wanted to go back to my comfort zone a couple of times. But you guys pushed me, and you and Hawa especially, you guys kind of like, maybe you saw a bit of yourselves in me. You guys took me under your wing. You taught me a lot. And you guys helped me become, I mean, between me, you, Hawa, we were top 3 performing in the store consistently.
I remember there was a point where like you were selling a lot of migrations, bro. You were saying a lot of migrations, and like Frank was giving you your praises, you know, and like you were going off, and like that was really nice because at that time I saw that like you had that fire in you, and it was nice, you know. It was nice to just see to have somewhat an influence for you to do better, you know?
That was my first time on like other than like in soccer. It was my first time with like a group of lads on a team who were just like killing it. Like that environment really inspired me.
Because it's a commission base, you know? You like, obviously we had a base pay, but at the same time, like you made your money by selling. And if you didn't sell, not only did you bring everybody down because your numbers mattered, right? In order for everybody to, the managers to hit their bonuses,
we got a little touch up on that too.
Yeah. But like you, in that store, in an environment where you have to hold your own weight, really builds you as a character.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of the times when you just work a typical job, like an average job where there's no sales targets, no quotas,
like my previous job, like it doesn't matter how fast I do the popcorn.
You become stagnant, and it's just the same thing over and over. It's just a repeat. Whereas in a sales job, that's why I think everybody should try sales or get into sales at least once in their life. Because you really develop as a person, and it really pushes you to something better, you know, like it pushes you to be someone better, or like makes you achieve things that you didn't think was possible, because not only do you put yourself out there, but you come up with clever ways on interacting with people, right? Because when you're pitching something, when you're pitching a similar product to a person, right? Let's say you're pitching a similar product to 2 people. Based on how you really convey your message, based on your tonality, based on how like your mannerism, it plays a big factor, right? And those are the things that you learn in sales. And And it was nice that you actually went into that job, because I'm sure that shaped you to who you are today in some ways, right?
Even now, in what I'm doing with my business and in real estate, those foundations helped immensely.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I was
mean, right
definitely
now we're still
disappointed that it got shut down when the store basically died from COVID. But
Yeah, but I mean, even
good
now,
time.
like every day, man, sales is everywhere, bro. Like even in dating, when you're trying to date someone, you're really selling yourself in a way where, like, let me tell you why
Yes.
I'm someone that is compatible with you, right? Like you're on your best behavior. You dress up, like. You do everything to sell yourself to the other person,
Yes.
so that you're somewhat more enticing, right?
The funnest I loved, like with my current girlfriend.
Yeah.
The beginning was so fun to me because I just get to like.
You're playing with her in some ways.
Yeah,
There's
like,
a mental
well,
game, because yes,
She thinks that everything's happening organically, like
Yeah.
in sales.
But like you're
in reality, I'm
manipulating.
plotting everything.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. Like when you get good enough at selling or in sales in general, like you just learn so many like tactics to just like, you can not manipulate, but you kind of almost predict how they will react based on your output. I mean, based on your input, right? So it's a very interesting thing that you say that with your current girlfriend.
Yeah, it was get into that another time, but I think that it teaches you how to analyze situations and try to get outcomes that you desire, aka close the deal. And you learn how to control conversations. You learn all these little micro things that we've talked about, like when to listen, when to not, like when to interject, tonality, when like how to go through those processes, and that kind of can help. But yeah, it's definitely been beneficial. And obviously you hit a point where then you realize, okay, like my skill level is high enough now where I want to sell a higher ticket product and I need to go into a bigger league, because there's stages to sales.
No, of course.
So I absolutely recommend, and I've told all my friends, and I'm proud, one of my best friends is now, actually two of my best friends are now, they work at TELUS. And like they're starting that foundation, they're building that foundation. That's going to give them the ability to
develop as a person.
Their input is their output. So they're starting to learn how to make more money and understand that the effort that they put in is going to translate to more dollars in their account. Like, which is then going to translate to their lifestyle. It may not be right
then and then, but like in the future too, right? It's just it pays dividends and whatnot.
And then eventually you extrapolate that skill into higher levels of the game, whether it's then selling your own product, selling your own business, or going into another business, but being a star within a business.
Yeah.
And that loops into my point that I wanted to kind of talk about through that entrepreneurial journey, is also identifying kind of what we were talking about at the beginning, about your strengths. Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a good intrapreneur? You know, like just being able to kind of identify those things within yourself.
It's funny because like for me, I could, I guess, call myself an entrepreneur. I don't know if I would fit that description, but like,
I mean, I think you would.
Like, I don't even really claim myself as an entrepreneur. I'm just playing a game, bro. Like, business is just a game. The more you play, it's just repetition. The more you play, the better you get at it, right? Yeah. And like, and that's just it. It's simple, you know. Like, I guess the underlying factor of being an entrepreneur is just the willingness to take risk, right? Like what's your risk tolerance, right? And like being like you can't be an entrepreneur with zero risk tolerance, right? Because that's just impossible, bro. Like you cannot play this game safe. There's no safe game in business, right? There's always, if you're willing to make $1 million, you gotta be at least willing to lose 100,000. You know what I mean?
Fair point.
It's not just like, all right, I'm gonna make all this money, because there's
the money.
Yeah, man. Like it just doesn't work like that. Because if it did, then everybody would just be rich. You know what I mean? And that's the underlying factor of being an entrepreneur in comparison to just being an employee, is that like when you're an employee, there's no risk involved. All you got to do is perform well and you'll keep your job. Whereas like an entrepreneur, as in a businessman, all the risk is on you. People might think that like, oh, you're the business owner, you make all the money. But hey, listen, I'm the business owner. If this business fucking sinks, it's all on me.
Yes.
You know, like I have the financial
burden
of
responsibility,
everything,
yeah.
bro. Like, you know, like I gotta take care of everything, you know. And it's just
Even this place for you, bro. You know, like this is a big step for you.
definitely, bro.
And
I mean,
that's a risk.
Absolutely financial risk, bro. Like the down payment, making sure I make my payments, because if I don't, then my credit's gonna get fucked up, my business credit, and like it's a lot of things, you know. And like obviously, and that's why like in business, the weak ones gets weeded out right away, you know, because you can tell who's really in it and who's not. You know what I mean?
You wouldn't be at this stage if you didn't have that in you. So.
Yeah, and like I say all the time, like, man, like if I really didn't love this journey, I should have quit a long time ago, bro. I could have just, because, bro, you know how sometimes, not that I ever compare myself to people, but like just sometimes when you just analyze your life,
Yes,
how it can be somewhat discouraging for me when I see some of my colleagues, like some of my friends who I grew up with, that are just like having a full-time job making like 80K a year, 70K a year, you know. And like for them, that's like at this stage, that's like amazing, you know. That's an amazing like salary and whatnot. And like here you are, like here I am just fucking grinding it out, just trying to make ends meet, but like I'm just trying to work something, you know. Like I just feel like I'm at the bottom in terms of making money,
right?
But I just know that I have a long-term goal, and so like,
well, that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing though, is like I said this before, but like I would hate it if someone ever said that I was lucky. If like, let's say I make it to the top and someone said, "Oh, you got lucky." Like no, man. Like while you're working your work from home job, making 80, 90K a year, whatever, and here I am like grinding every day, no days off, bro. Literally no days off, literally 80-hour weeks or more. You know, and just like
it's a really unique it's a really unique choice to make when you look at it, because it's like I'm putting myself through so much pain for the potential reward, but the difference is that in 3 years from now, you may be at a very different stage. Whereas, should we pause? As a man building a business, going through all those things that you're going through, having a woman by your side who's supportive and understanding, can 10x you. Having a woman by your side who, in this scenario, for example, that just happened, if then she turns around and says, you know, fuck you never have time, like all those things, and puts you down.
Support. Let me tell you something, man.
Let
me put my headphones on for this one.
It's getting serious now.
I think support plays a big factor in everybody's entrepreneurial journey, right? Because it either one, when you get no support, it just puts you in a mindset like, yo, fuck everyone. I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I'm going to do it, and I'm just going to be successful. There's no option of not being successful, right? But it really breaks you down when you don't get any support. But I think not getting support is somewhat also important, because it's a lonely journey, bro. It's really a lonely journey. And I think I mean, I haven't been to the top, but I think the reason why they say the top is very lonely is because you lose so many people along the way, right? Because not everybody shares your vision, right? Nobody understands why you don't have time to go out and party. Nobody understands why you're so serious, or like what and whatnot, you know? And like everybody's interest kind of just shifts, right?
Certainly.
So like having no support also builds you, but also really fucks you up. But also getting the support is amazing, bro. It's literally fuel. You know what I mean? Like you could have a really long day at work, and just like when you just come home to someone that really loves you and understands you, it's a game changer, you know? And like you never feel like you're a burden, because like, man, like being an entrepreneur, like you put more time into this business than you do for yourself and your partner.
A lot of the time.
You know?
A lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of guys, I mean, first of all, a lot of the advice that's given to young men is grind until you reach a certain level of status, and then you can allocate resources into dating. At least based off the stuff that I was seeing.
Yeah.
A lot of the advice was literally to almost stay away from dating and investing energy in that, and only focusing on business. And the reason for that is because of everything we just touched on.
Yeah.
But if you can if you could find yourself with an opportunity to have someone by your side who ultimately complements your life and ultimately uplifts you, motivates you.
Absolutely.
If you can have that, that's something that you can really cherish. Now, the
And
thing is...
hold on to, bro. And hold on to, because like women like that is like very rare to come by.
So we as men have a duty, as boyfriends, have a duty to be good boyfriends.
Yeah.
Because if you're not able to appreciate that and not give your woman that love back, you know, she's making sacrifice the same way that you're sacrificing for your business. She's sacrificing certain things that her lifestyle may be able to offer her that you then can through your sacrifices. But like it's a yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
And so the thing that I've learned, the thing that I try to do is I really appreciate my girlfriend for understanding all the sacrifices that we have to make in order to get where her and I want to go.
Yeah.
But also, you could say, rewarding those sacrifices and not always be like, you know, I'll work 2 weeks straight and then I'll take us on a 3-day holiday, you know, just do something to have that balance. Because ultimately, if you do neglect your girlfriend, which I think sometimes happens with entrepreneurs, is that they're not able to give their girlfriend attention, and their girls will be hopefully making sacrifices for them. If not, what will happen is then those types of guys end up actually like lonely or getting cheated on. Yeah. Because they're neglecting their girlfriend, and they don't necessarily understand that. Yeah. But then ultimately
it's like
they leave, you know?
No, absolutely. And I just want to give flowers to my girl, bro, because like she really holds it down. And like going back to what you said, bro, yin and yang, and like it's a great balance to have someone in your life that truly supports you and loves you for everything, and like that someone that's also willing to sacrifice. Because at the end of the day, you know, is like when you're working every single hour of the day, you know, like, and you're not allocating any time for your significant other, that's a lot to take in from that other person. Because at the end of the day, your partner has emotional and physical needs.
Absolutely.
Right. And like whether that's just spending time and just like having dinner and whatnot, you know, and that's something that all humans need, right? But sometimes for us entrepreneurs, we're just so savage. We just have that crazy like tunnel vision that like, yo, don't get in my way and whatnot. But having a great girl by your side really just brings you back to life and just like makes you realize on the more important things too, you know? And like, Absolutely. Your business is important, but what's more important too is like just actually living, you know? You can't forget to live sometimes as an entrepreneur you forget to live, you know, because you're just like breathing and eating, like inhaling and exhaling that business. But no, absolutely. And like balance is really important too, because just focusing so much on your business could be really toxic for your mind, for your mental health too, you know, especially when you're having tough times in your business and whatnot. It takes a lot of toll in you. But I mean, that's why you gotta have that woman in your life or your partner that brings you back to life and reels you back in, you know?
And being able to be a good communicator as a boyfriend, you know, to bring that level of understanding for your partner will help. And that's the thing, is that when you're actually building a relationship, you get to learn things of each other. You know how to support each other. Whereas if it's just like flings, or if it's just like short-term relationships, then typically, at least from my perspective, the way that they'll end is you'll hit one of those roadblocks, or like you'll hit one of those things, and then it'll die off. Whereas in a genuine relationship where you both care about each other, you're both investing in each other, you're going to overcome those roadblocks. You're going to understand each other. You're going to prevail. So, you know, we can get into more of that stuff another time, but it is definitely an important factor.
That's a really important pillar. Yes. It's a great foundation, man. Having a great partner is a great foundation to anything, you know, because it's just at the end of the day, you need someone to just also like hold you down and like support you in a lot of ways, you know. And
it's fulfilling. I mean, from my perspective at least, like I'm grinding and doing these things, and it's like, all right, babe, let's go to Miami. Okay, let's go like that. That's what I work for.
I'm not on that level. I can't go to Miami, bro.
We'll go.
Chris, you're just on a different level. But
we'll go sometime. I definitely would love to actually travel with you sometime. And
Yeah,
especially
bro.
with your videography skills, we'll go make some nice
Bro.
content, brother.
Bro, but hey, man, if we're on vacation, bro,
Business expense.
we ain't doing no work, bro. At least not me, bro.
Nah, you
I
need to
have,
also
like,
experience.
yeah.
Obviously, you're in a very much like monk mode, sacrifice time, but there needs to be times where you do reward yourself
Yeah, and that's sometimes it's
to
really
keep
hard
pushing
to.
you.
Sometimes I just feel like I'm not doing enough, bro. So I don't.
You're
really,
always gonna feel that.
I never reward myself. Like, bro, this year the idea of going on a vacation boggles my mind. Like,
Then don't do
like,
it.
Like, why am I celebrating? Like, why would I go out on a weekend? What am I celebrating? I'm not successful. I haven't done shit. And that's the thing, though. Like, I know that's like a toxic mindset, and that's something that I got to break out of, because a lot of the times, man, like I just feel like, man, like I'm not doing shit. Things are not going well. I'm not doing enough. Why would I ever go out and drink? Like,
Well, you don't need to do that,
What
but-
am I celebrating for? You know, when I go out, like, what is there to celebrate? I haven't been successful, and like that's a really toxic mindset. But yeah, you sometimes you definitely need to take a step back and give yourself some flowers, and like, you know what?
Yeah.
I built this. I'm not satisfied, because once you're satisfied, you're fucked. But like, I'm kind of like I'm kind of happy, you know, happy, and kind of I'm on a path where I'm being fulfilled. I'm on a fulfilling path.
Everything you're experiencing is very normal. I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through that. The thing is, though, you have to set key parameters for yourself so that you can celebrate your wins and then fuel yourself for your next ones.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is as you keep hitting different stages, whether it's certain income goals per month or a status of a material item that you wanted, whether it's like a watch or a car or whatever, then you're able to raise that bar and continue in that journey.
Yeah.
Enjoying the journey of climbing the mountain, but
You
I don't
really
think there
have to.
is. I don't know if there is a top. You know, maybe it's just a succession, and you hit points, and you gotta look back and be like, "Look at you, bro."
I think
You know?
the top. Like I said, I've never been at the top, but I think the top is when you aren't happy anymore. I think that's when you get to the top. Because then there's like, what else is there to do? You know, like, for example, like, have you ever, like, when you have one life goal,
Yeah.
and then you reach that life goal at an early point in your life,
Yeah.
and there's nothing to work towards for anymore, what do you do at that point?
Well, most people either raise that bar
They raise that bar, yeah.
or
But
you
what if the
continue
bar
to
is already so, yeah.
It depends.
I guess that's
Or
when you
stop.
yeah.
Stop looking at only happiness as your only parameter. Like, for myself, it's not like happiness is not the only thing, but also peace and then impact,
Fulfillment. Are you making yourself proud? Because sometimes, bro, like happiness is a temporary state of emotion.
It's an emotion, right?
It's a temporary state of emotion, and that can fade away. I could be really happy right now, and then in 2 minutes I could be really upset.
Yeah.
Right? So happiness is as great as it is, don't write off of happiness. Write off of fulfillment and think about things that would make you proud. You know, like, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you felt proud of yourself? And that feeling probably lasted a while. You know, like, when you feel proud about something that you've accomplished, yeah, happiness is a byproduct of that. But feeling proud is much more powerful than just feeling happy. You know, because listen, if you did something that you were really proud of and something bad happened, you won't discount that feeling of being proud. Whereas if, let's say, you're just happy right now, you know, you're having a good time and something bad happened, the feeling of being happy in the moment would be discounted, would be eliminated right away, right? It doesn't hold as much value. But yeah, man, like, I think that's a different perspective. Like, do things that you're proud of, you know,
I think that's important.
You know, your business, the business that you build, you're proud of that. The fact that you can financially support yourself, your family, or whoever it is in your circle, that's something to be proud of. You know, the fact that, like, you have a healthy relationship, that's something to be proud of, right? And
certainly.
And I think that's more of a journey that a lot of people should really take on, rather than just chasing monetary
or like
emotions,
short-term fulfillment, right?
Short-term fulfillments.
It's just what you prioritize. And I mean, who knows what really triggers that? You know, sometimes I think to myself, like, wouldn't it be nice to just, like, not care about these things? Because ultimately it's all...
You know what? You know what I realized, Chris? I don't know if you can. This could be the last topic. Well over an hour.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you reach certain things in life, like I'm not in any way successful, but once you reach or have certain things in your life, you realize it really doesn't matter. As an example, a lot of the times people, one of their goals is to, let's say, drive a car, like a really nice car. Right. And like for me, I would say I've been blessed to have the opportunity to have two great cars. The previous one, my current car.
Yes.
Right. I had a BMW at an early age, and now I'm driving like a Mercedes, right? For example, I'm not in any way trying to brag, but what I'm getting at here is that like the fact that I've had the best at an early stage in my life, it doesn't hit the same way. You know, like for me, like driving a Mercedes Benz doesn't really make me happy or isn't fulfilling.
Right.
Because to me, it's a thing.
It's because it's what you get used to. Like
it's what you get to.
Two
Yeah,
weeks
it's like like my threshold now is like up here.
Right.
And I think that's a bad thing. I think when you get things at an early age, it becomes like a bad thing, bro. Because now anything that I look at has to be, in order for it to be somewhat interesting for me,
yes,
it has to top what I currently have right now.
Could that also work in a positive though?
That could work in a positive, but at what point? At what point do you reach or have everything that you can't go any further?
You get to determine that. We get to determine what we define as success and failure. Ultimately, you can
and I don't even
compare at the landscape and be like, okay, you know, XYZ puts me here and there.
Yeah.
But I truly believe that it comes down to what you hold importance to. And if you say that this thing is what you want, and typically that's what I was trying to look back to, is eventually you increase that baseline, so you have to keep progressing up to that mountain to get to that.
Do you agree with what I'm saying? Like when you first got your Lexus, you had your Lexus, you felt good.
Of course.
And then that feeling faded away. Did it?
From my perspective, I kept wanting to experience higher levels of Lexus.
Exactly. So now that's like your threshold has gone a lot higher though, right? Now you have a beautiful Tesla.
Yeah.
You know, like it just like you're constantly just upgrading.
But it puts me in a position to, so in order to sustain that,
yeah,
I then need to level up as an individual.
Yeah.
And so that's my key takeaway is if I'm going to live my life like this, then I need to raise my baselines, and the experiences that I've had has led me to say, okay, I mean, again, do I need it? We could debate this all day long, but ultimately it comes down to...
But does it bring you the same fulfillment as you thought it would give you? Because for me, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because at first I thought it would. At first I thought it would. You know, I like fast cars. You know, I appreciate cars. That's why I even have those cars that I had. You know, or have.
But you need to do that. It's all part, because prior to that, the idea was, I don't want to be in this Mazda. I want to be in the Benz.
Yeah.
Now you're in the Benz. But now maybe the thing is, like, maybe you got to look internally also and say, I don't need to prioritize this. I achieved this. Congratulations to myself. I'm proud of myself. But I have bigger fish to fry now. And I need to make my business a staple piece of this community.
Yeah.
So fuck the car. Congratulations, you have a nice car.
Yeah.
And you can sustain that.
Yeah.
And when I look at you and I see you in a nice Mercedes, I say, okay, he's obviously doing something right. I think instead, because it's easy to keep looking higher and higher and higher, or like, why even look for fulfillment in that anymore? That's your baseline. That's your whip now. That's you.
Yeah.
You drive Benz.
Yeah.
But that's it. Don't even think about it.
But the thing is, bro, I'm so detached with that. I don't even want a Benz, bro. I want to get rid of it. I want to get a Toyota, bro.
Maybe you're just on a different journey.
I just find, it's just weird. I think this is just all off topic now, but I think we'll keep it in. But like, I'm just talking now. But like, for me, it's not even like the thought of being fulfilled from like a materialistic thing is such a temporary feeling, bro. It fades away so quick.
My perspective is clearly you had set these baselines for things, you've reached them, and now you no longer derive satisfaction from them. So you're going through almost like a an opposite journey now, where you're trimming?
Yeah, I'm kind of trimming, bro. Like, it's weird because like when I first got my like BMW, I was like, okay, at the first week I enjoyed it, but then after that I was like, yeah, I'm not even really like excited about this car anymore. I'm more excited about the work that I have to do to get to my next car. And I got to my next car, and then now I'm just like, I guess the next car that I want is based on the fucking market, but it's more expensive than a Mercedes or a BMW, a Toyota 4Runner, you know. But I'm doing that because of business purposes. But
we had mentioned that maybe a Model Y would be
Model Y could be, but I'm not that bougie, bro, and I don't know how I feel about I don't know.
But the byproduct to get the Model Y, you need to scale your business. So allow that to act as motivation to say, why are you pushing? What are you pushing? You know, you got to push.
I mean, there's nothing that the Y can bring that the 4Runner can't. Tax write-off.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Environmental. Yeah, I guess so. This is just business people talking business now, but
yeah, it's just
we're over an hour.
Well, it's been a pleasure, brother.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming by,
bro. It's been good.
No, absolutely. We're just gonna continuously work together, you know, and I must say, bro, I love having people I love having people like you in my circle, because it's really rare for me to come across people that are in the same journey and same mindset, you know, let alone actually like doing it, you know. And so it's crazy because you've learned a lot from me, and now I'm learning a lot from you, know.
We're just getting started,
and we're just getting started, you know. And yeah, man, I just gotta say, bro, I'm proud of you for being where you are right now. And like I have to say, bro, like you are where you are today because of what you did yesterday, you know. And like just keep that in mind so that you never lose track, you know. Like what will determine your future is what you do today, you know. That's just straight up, you know. So
let's keep putting the work in and, you know, see where that goes. Let's do it.
Absolutely, brother.
Thanks again, bro.
Thank you for coming by. I mean, for those who are interested on maybe networking with you,
absolutely,
and whatnot, where can they find you?
Honestly, the best spot is just shoot a DM on Insta. I love to engage with people on there and just have conversations, and you know that typically leads to us linking up in person, maybe going for a dinner or doing different things. So super open to that. Mm-hmm. Just my first name and last name. Maybe you can link it or something. Yeah,
I'll link it. I'll link your.
Super down to meet with other people and just chat business and just enjoy, you know.
No, absolutely, man. Like if there's this is someone that you wanna pick their brain, you know. And it's funny because there's a point in time where you had mentors, and you're getting to a point where like you could be someone's mentor now, you know. And I know you're relatively
maybe
young,
one day, but Hormozi, I think a lot of people refer back to him because he's taught quite a lot.
Yeah.
And right now I'm in the phase where I'm building the how I want to build the how not the how to. So I got to do it myself and make things happen. And then I can sit there with the social proof and all those other things that we talked about and say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's how I did XYZ.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm super excited to be in that building phase right now. I'm still figuring things out. We barely even got into what I'm doing.
I know.
In the now. That will be for another time.
I know, bro. That means we gotta have you on to the next episode. So if you wanna know what Chris Tredre is up to currently, let us know in the comments down below.
Yes, sir.
And we'll definitely invite him over. This is definitely
gonna be We'd love to connect with some of you guys. So yeah, just shoot a DM and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Peace.